Hey, everybody, welcome to the Curious is Better podcast. Today, I got a real good one. I'm joined today by Drake Meyer from Atomix Logistics. Thanks for joining, Drake. I appreciate it. Um, and I want to jump right in because you and I spoke just last week about a bunch of this stuff. And I want to, before we get into some questions, I wanted to talk about your journey because you've been in logistics and warehousing for a long time. And I also know that you're kind of a tech evangelist and you embrace innovation. I want to hear about that journey.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, like we talked about earlier, really just, kind of fell into warehousing and logistics because it was an opportunity I got in high school and kind of just stuck with it. So, I mean, growing up in Wisconsin, I got a job at Pepsi working second shift, driving a forklift, building pallets, and grinding it out with a team. Kind of leveraged that experience to get another job in a warehouse and just kept growing from there. Eventually got into supervision and then into management and started to kind of find a passion on process improvement and team building. And grew up playing sports my whole life, so warehouse operations and floor support and process improvement ties very closely to building a team and practicing hard and learning how to win and lose. So
Do you think that had an impact on your overall style, though, as the different companies you went to, and then ending up at Atomics, where in your leadership, you sound regimented? You know what I mean? So like, processes can be evaluated and optimized over and over again. But do you think that you have a style for that?
yeah, I think I look at things a little different than the average person, and always trying to see how I can do things a little bit faster or more enjoyable, right? I think of my experience on the floor and the long, grueling days, and uh, always think of how I can make that easier on the employee. But yeah, I think the sports side of things helped a lot of just knowing that even though it's tough, you practice hard, you learn from your mistakes and get creative. Make tomorrow better and just keep building from there.
So let's jump into the tech stuff. We know Atomics that you guys own your own WMS, which is that's not common in logistics and warehousing. It's usually a SaaS or something like that. Can you give some insights why Atomic and you made that choice to own your own, and what are some of the advantages compared to some of the off the shelves that are in the industry?
Yeah, I think what kind of sets us apart from a lot of customers is our adaptability, depending on what the customer needs, and that's on the floor, customer service, all through the company. But the tech part of it plays a big key. We get a lot of requests on custom type processes, or people have different types of product that they need something a little bit more unique, or they want a little more insight, or they need something more than what the off the shelf can handle. So we have the ability to kind of curtail our app and our VMS and our tech to what the customer needs. So that's really useful. And then on top of that, like, the data is king, and being able to control everything that happens in our warehouse through our own tech and pull whatever data we need and understand what's happening is huge. So I think owning your own tech, building your own tech is kind of a natural progression for Atomics, just what we're trying to do for our customers, take care of them the best way we can.
Yeah, but because you and I spoke too, and you guys are like blowing up. It can scale, right? So, and you just, so I know you're onboarding a bunch of customers on a weekly basis, right? You're what are you on number 9 or something on the fastest growing company list? So, and then the comment you just made about owning your own WMS, it's to accommodate clients because they have custom requests, and you can accommodate those, which got to be unbelievably liberating from off the shelf. What do you think has been the biggest challenge so far for you or Atomics in keeping pace with all that onboarding, and then protecting culture quality, and then also leveraging your tech stack?
Yeah, I think it's being adaptable and the speed we have to move, right? In the 3PL world, every time you add a customer, it changes the playing field. Now we have different products, different requests, different volumes. Customers are going on sales at different times. Every day is always different in a warehouse, but now as we add new customers at the pace we are, it's keeping the team comfortable with the amount of change, right? Change isn't always comfortable, but we work really hard at Atomics to make that a norm, right? We're constantly improving, constantly changing stuff. So, yeah, it sometimes cannot be the easiest things, but it's definitely exciting, right? To see new customers coming in constantly. And, our team, we're really, really tight. I mean, our leadership is on the floor, customer service is on the floor, tech is on the floor. So we see what's happening day in and day out. We're definitely not disconnected and siloed in any way. So, I mean, the new guys on the floor who just start as an order picker, they're equally as excited as the CEO when they see a new customer and what is it and where are we shipping and watching customers blow up. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool. You know, I want to get on a topic where you and I first started talking just about implementations of AI, and you guys are using some camera-centric AI tool at your 3PL packing stations, primarily, or at least initially, to focus on performance. So I want you to explain that because I think people will think that's super interesting. But I also want you to get into how you pivoted by using that data to help with other things like QA and training, stuff like that. Can you tell that story? Because that's what we initially talked about. And you showed me an example of stuff that you were using. I think it's a great story.
Yeah. We use the Vision AI daily. We have cameras over all of our pack stations that really started as quality, right? Making sure that we are packing properly. If a customer calls and says, "Hey, I didn't get all my items," we can look at the video and say, "You did," or "You're right, you didn't," and we can address it, right? So naturally, everybody just thinks of quality, and that's kind of where it was used. But the more and more we use it, the more and more we understand that the amount of data we can get from the visuals of a pack station is way more than we can pull in any other way. Like you can't pull all that from a WMS or files, right? To be able to watch any single order, see exactly what happened, really changed the game. So really partner with our partner Rabo to kind of build out how we could use it for production purposes. So now on our floor, there's a screen that's up and it tells us if we're on track or off track. It's that simple. It's you're on track or not. And if you're not, then we can dig in and see which station's going slow. And we can watch their last couple videos and we can see, oh, it's because they're having a problem with their printer. Well, I'm on it, right? If people go too slow, a light goes off and we can visually see which station is having an issue, right? Or if an employee needs boxes or they have a mispick or they need help, they can just flip a button and boom, we're there. On top of that, the Vision AI can tell us, ergonomically if we're doing things right. If a station's cluttered, we're working towards not having to scan anything because it'll recognize the product. It's seen it so many times, so we can just be even faster with less touches. So there's a ton of opportunity in that realm, just the quality aspect, but more importantly is just like on the fly being able to correct actions immediately versus the following day, right? I don't want to look at a file and say, well, that guy was slow. Let's go talk to him. And hey, buddy, you were slow yesterday. What are you talking about? But if I walk up to him after his third pack and say, what's going on? Oh, this printer's jammed. I got it. Keep going, right? I can fix things immediately, which over a week, month, year is huge savings for us. And after we started using it as a production tool, we've seen major gains. Some of our top moving clients, we've doubled our throughput just because we can immediately address issues.
Yeah, yeah, and you were saying too was super appreciated at those pack stations too. They don't see it as like oversight or even like what am I trying to say? Like supervisory where there could be consequences. It's more like they're gonna see that I'm having problems and someone's gonna
Correct.
come and address these things like right now. So it
Yeah,
was
and
much the reverse.
we use it too. Is we just show everybody like, hey, let's watch a couple videos from yesterday. Look at this guy. They're pumping out, 3 orders a minute. They're cooking and their hands are moving. They're not leaving their station. They're efficient. And look at this person. They keep having to leave. Why are they leaving? Let's talk about why you leave your station. Let's talk about how do we stay at our stations, right? For new people, it's really big too. We can just put them on a station, give them some training, and then a couple of hours later, we'll sit them down and watch some videos. We'll show them a good packer and mistakes that people make and how they're packing. And people learn like that now, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say that was one of the things too, is that I think you had mentioned that you guys jumped on real quick, is that you're like, we could repurpose this. So not only for QA performance, but then quality assurance, but also in onboarding new employees and training videos. You can use that same actual production data, not something that's staged, not something that's like rhetorical or academic. Like you can
Yep.
show pace from the floor, actual customer stuff like that.
Yeah. And then in the 3PL world, there's SOPs for everything, right? And the reality is nobody is going to read 100 different SOPs and retain the information on how to pack each individual customer. But with the Vision AI, we can build an SOP off of the video and show the employee how to pack it. We can store it right there on the platform. So when they get to a customer and they're not sure how to pack it, they can watch the video and it shows them as somebody was there, how they packed the order, and now they know how to pack it. So it cuts back on a lot of the old way of thinking where we need to draft a written SOP, get it approved, get it trained, get it signed off and enforced. And when somebody doesn't do it right, then why didn't they do it? You signed off on it. Well, real world doesn't work like that, right? Especially the younger population, they're moving too quick to sit study a SOP, right?
Yeah, for sure. You and I spoke too about just different innovations, and you're talking about like robotics on the floor, RFID tagging for fork trucks and things like that. And do you see those in your industry or even at Atomics specifically about how those are going to be differentiators as far as introduction to this type of tech as like staples in the industry?
Yeah, there's a lot of new stuff out there. I mean, we're talking to people constantly on how they can, test in our environment and partner with us to see if we can use some robotics. And, we're doing RFID right now. It's a big win for us, making sure that we have really good transparency over our inventory. I mean, we're really keeping an open eye at Atomics on what's the next thing down the road, right? Like, do we want a robot to sort? Do we want a robot to pick and pack? Can we? What's the ROI? Um, I've seen a lot that promise a lot and look awesome. I mean, who doesn't want a robot in your warehouse, right? But if it's only going to reduce a pick path or it's only going to take a minimal percentage of orders off of our order fillers, like I don't think it's honestly worth our attention right now. As young and hungry as we are and onboarding, we don't really have the bandwidth to spend time on designing all that. So we're focusing really on the vision AI and future state. Yeah, I think we're getting close to where a robot can pick, a robot can pack.
Well, we just tapped on something really interesting too, Drake, because this is like conversations I have all day, every day. It's like when there's a tech initiative where they want like a company like ours to build it for them or augment some other piece of software they bought. It's all about ROI, right? And you had
Yeah.
just made a comment about robots on the floor. It's like there's some threshold where it's like, well, if it only removes the needle this much, we're not there. But if it moves this much, then we are there. Like, how does the team at Atomics will be specific and C suites and the rest of the leadership that you work with? How do you make those decisions? Like, where are the KPIs that come up in the discussions when you talk about ROI into tech innovations?
Yeah, I think it comes down to like, we own our own tech, we build our own tech. And now with the Vision AI, like the data's king. We know exactly how long it takes to pick an order, pack an order, how many steps we're taking, how many carts we're using. We know all that. So we can easily compare that to what a robot says it can do or automation says it can do. And it's an easy thing because we have the data, right? If we don't have that data, then it's a guessing game.
You think it's a mistake for some other people that are at least on the growth trajectory in your industry to not own your own tech stack? I mean, we keep getting back to it, and I happen to agree with you, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. But do you think that that's like a mistake not to own your own tech or data sovereignty? Right? Because I hear that a lot too. Is that your operational data is not becoming part of some larger model that's available to everybody else. You get to learn from you specifically. You're answering questions specific to your reality.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I mean, it really depends on what your company's after, right? Like, there's a lot of good stuff out there, right? Prior to working at Atomics, I worked for Ship Hero, and I helped them a lot with their WMS and their operations and translating what's happening on the floor to what should be built in the WMS. So I have prior experience on that. I've also used off the shelf WMSs at other buildings. So I've seen both sides, right? Not having your own WMS really does make you feel like you're on an island. Like, oh, it'd be so nice if I could do this, but I can ask them, but that's all I can really do. And it's high priority for them. Great. If not, it is what it is. Having your own WMS is like, especially in a young, hungry company, if I have a meeting and explain it properly of the gains, we can pivot our whole priority on tech and tackle something for an immediate gain on the floor. That's the kind of world I like to live in, where we can quickly find a solution and implement. And in the fast moving world today with AI and tech and robotics and stuff, I think the WMS tech part is becoming more and more important, right? More than just adding a box director or something on the floor. It's controlling the data and being quick to improve all the aspects of the warehouse.
Yeah, I'm always curious from industry to industry if leadership or like the people in tech at those particular companies know that it's even an option to customize or build over or take on. I mean, yours is an ambitious is take on and build your own WMS. It's like sometimes I feel like there's specific industries like legal, as an example. I know that we're getting deviating a little bit, but they just take whatever is available off the shelf. Do you think that's an attitude or you think that's an exposure? Because I mean, you came up through the ranks, so your eyes are wide. But do you think that people in your industry specifically think I don't have any other options than shelf WMS, or they don't know that they can customize, or they don't know that they can own their own data and convert it to decisions?
Yeah. I mean, it's a big lift, right? I mean, luckily one of our founders is super bright and able to build this, right? And it was part of the process from the beginning. But if we're running a 3PL now with a couple hundred customers and we're just trying to be as efficient as we can, to think to go get rid of your WMS and prop one up on your own sounds expensive, right? I mean, you're going to need a lot, right? You need engineers. Inventory for a customer is not something to play around with, right? Like we consider ourselves like their bank. If you show up to grab $100 and we tell you we only got 50, like that's not good. So I think it's kind of scary for people to think of implementing their own, and expensive. So it all kind of, it can be ambitious for sure, but if you do it right, the gains are definitely there.
So let me take it back as we'll wrap up, but I am curious because I'm harkening back to the conversation we first started with when we talked about AI, because that was the first discussion. Where do you see AI having the most practical impact on the logistics industry day to day? Like, do you see something that's on the near horizon that you think will have a day to day impact?
Yeah, I mean, it's moving so fast. It's really hard to say. The way I kind of think of it is like, what isn't it going to touch? Motivating people and building teams, like, and having the right leaders and the right people in the right places is probably never going to be able to be even touched by AI. Like, you have to have that team, right? You have to have the good leaders. You have to have the buy-in. You have to have the culture. AI can't touch that. But pretty much everything else is kind of fair game, right? Like all of our clerical work, all of our emails and comms and organization and tasks and reporting. I mean, and it can be long until that's old school if we're doing that by hand, right? That AI is taking that stuff from us. The data, like, here's what I'm doing today. AI can tell you what to change, right? And how to make that better. That's already here. So
When you and I were talking, I loved when you were saying, like, there's a lot of people saying AI is going to replace this, replace that, and you're like, it frees us to use our brains. And you had said that. You're like, now we can
yeah,
take the noise away and just use our brains and our expertise in our particular industries. You couldn't figure out. It's like, why? I don't understand why people would like shudder when they're like, "What? Oh, AI is going to do this or that." You're like, it's liberating. All that noise and everybody's every
yeah.
day has an opportunity to leave.
Yeah, I think the higher up you get to, the more time you spend preparing for meetings, and before you know it, that's your number one job, is just spend an hour to prepare for a meeting and then rinse and repeat. That preparation, we're seeing that go away already. Like, not to say we 100% rely on AI to make our decisions. They probably don't make any decisions, but they handle all of the busy work for us. So we can just stay focused on the top priorities and pivoting and reorganizing priorities, and then communicating to the team. If we didn't have the AI tools, I would be spending twice as much time in my day just drafting and communicating and trying to keep everybody organized. So that's the niche it's already filling, and that's been nice. It's been a big relief for us at Atomix for sure.
Listen, Drake, I want to thank you for joining. I appreciate it because I love when I, get to talk to and meet people that are tech leaning, especially in not like in industries that are not traditionally tech leaning. So I want to thank you a lot. And this again was Drake Meyer from Atomix Logistics, and you should go check them out. Thanks again, Drake. I appreciate it very, very much.
Yeah, man. Anytime. Great talking to you.
Talk to you soon.
All right.